imposter syndrome. I still feel that to this day, but being self-taught and not having the apprenticeship, I definitely feel the imposter syndrome a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I've gotten messages from people, or just like seeing reels from like other like, well-known artists, like kind of talking down on people who learned on their own. And I get it. Now I would definitely recommend people, go through an apprenticeship, because then you can learn the proper techniques, proper safety procedures and things like that. But then again, everybody has different opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had the opportunity to work here, as an apprenticeship, but other people don't have that,
Mm-hmm.
So I think everybody has like their own way of learning. And I won't look down on anybody who learned on their own, obviously, because I'm one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I would definitely recommend somebody get an apprenticeship now.
Yeah.
Now that I'm in the industry.
So guys, welcome back to another episode of the IQ Project. My name is Josh. My co-host right now is on vacation, so it's just me. But I got two beautiful ladies right here from Iconiq, right here. So you guys probably already know from my Instagram, our apprentice right here, Megan. You want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Oh, yeah, sure. My name is Megan. I've been only apprenticing for a little over a month. And I graduated from Cal State Fullerton and have just been doing art for most of my life.
Perfect. See? And now we have our newest artist right here, Luce.
Hello.
You want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah. I've been tattooing for going on 3 years now, about 2.5 years. And I've only been with Iconiq for about like 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
And so far, I love it. It's been like the best environment for me.
Cool. So
Love that.
Luce is our first women artists. Well,
Female.
artists here, full-time, that's working here. And we're glad to have her. Thank you for coming in.
Glad
Me
to be
too.
And doing
here.
this podcast. And then I wasn't done yet. Megan is our first female apprentice, right?
Yeah.
So I know for you guys, when you guys walked into the shop, you guys just saw a bunch of guys. And you guys, I don't know, what was your guys' thought about that?
Well, I mean, it's a male dominated industry, so
Like
it
every
wasn't
industry.
really anything new.
Mhm.
I was kind of expecting it, but not at the same time. So I don't mind being the first female apprentice, because it just means I get to bring some femininity into the shop. And then Luce helped that too.
With all my pink.
Exactly. Energy that the shop definitely needed. I mean, I'm saying the shop was already great, don't get me wrong, but a little bit of,
Little pizzazz.
yeah, exactly.
Little sparkle.
Well, like you said,
Sparkle.
it's more men dominated, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a perfect topic that we could go into. Like, what is the tattoo industry or just art industry in general for women? I mean, I know now it's changing. There used to be a lot more guys back then,
Mhm.
especially in conventions that we go to. We see a lot more women, and they're killing it right now, But I know there is struggles that they go through to get to the top. I know you've been through some that we'll probably
Yeah.
talk about. But I mean, how do you guys see in general the tattoo industry for women?
I kind of look at it in more of the full art industry in general, since I only just dipped my toes into the tattoo industry. So as like a female artist in general, I feel like we get questioned a lot about our opinions. No one will take us seriously in the
I
sense
agree.
of like, oh, well, I think, it will be more flowing if you do it like this. They'll question that, be like, well, how would you know that kind of thing? Like, well, I'm the artist. I've been studying this for a while. My opinion matters. Trust me. I know what I'm talking about. But people will always question it. They'll rather get a man's opinion over a woman's, which is unfortunately a big thing in our society and a lot in the tattoo industry.
In
So you
any
said-
industry.
So you said that you see more of the industry being dominated by men, but I know you were into fashion a little bit and you worked in the fashion industry for a bit. Did you see that be more dominated by men as well?
Well, like that too. I only dipped my toe into it, and I did an internship with my school. So I had one of my art teachers in college. She made a studio specifically for this internship for us to work with Shein. Or Shein. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that.
I don't think anybody knows how to pronounce
No,
that.
literally no one. But They're not the best company, but it was a great opportunity and like a really fun experience to get to create 10 designs, and then they get to pick which ones that they think would sell best, and then we finalize those designs. And in that, I think there was like a couple guys in our studio, but it was predominantly women because like, you know, that femininity, that cute sells. And I think in Sheen, which primarily is younger girls or like, you know, like the TikTok teenagers type look, and they shop on there because they're all broke little kids. So so I would say for like high end industry, I think it is a lot of men, but it's definitely opening up to more women being in the industry because like women are sick of clothes not fitting their body types. And we want stuff that is made for us instead of a set type of clothing line that only a certain amount of, like only a little group of people can even fit. So I feel like over the years it has been changing. More women have been becoming a part of it. But I think for like the big name brands, it's a lot of men.
Okay. I mean, Luce, you just said you've been tattooing for 2 years, right?
About 2.5 years. Yeah.
2.5 years. And I know you're self-taught. You want to give us a little story about how you started? You know what I mean? Because you being self-taught in the industry that you didn't even go to school for, because she went to art school, right? You didn't go to art school. You went to school for something completely different.
Completely different.
And then you decided to jump into the tattoo industry and just kind of figure it out yourself. That's pretty hard.
It was really hard, especially getting people to trust me. Like you were saying, like a lot of people don't take you seriously. Like I was just talking to them earlier about how I had somebody message me and tell me that my work looked like it had been taken off of Google, which is a bit flattering, but also like, damn, like you really don't think that a female could do work this good. Or like, I had one client too. They messaged me and told me like, oh, hey, like my coworker was saying that the work was really good, but they were like, hey, what guy did it? Or who's the guy that did it? And it's like, oh, she's a female. And they were like, what? Like, it's just so surprising that a female can do something good, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel like you can kind of tell when it's a female artist versus a male. Granted, that's not always the case because, you know, a good artist can do everything. But I feel like sometimes it's like that soft touch or that little bit of like more daintiness that you see in like a feminine design versus a male high contrasted like very high contrast dark type tattoo.
I don't know, because I've seen guys do good like single needle tattoo.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't think the style has a lot to do with it. But I do agree with you guys. Like I said, I've been in the tattoo industry for 12 years now, and I've seen the industry get bigger with females in it. I've been to multiple conventions where all you see is guys, but now you see more girls in the conventions, in the booths. And I've talked to my friend Terry, who she's been tattooing for 30 years since the early 90s.
Nice.
That she said how hard it was to be a female artist in the world-dominated industry, where you had to learn to adapt to that situation and not just take shit from anyone else. You have to learn how to be tough, be more tough-skinned as a woman.
You definitely have to have thick skin as a woman in this industry. God, I've had countless, I've gotten countless messages from people, mostly men. I think only one woman that was like talking shit about me, but it's been mostly men like talking down about my work and telling me like, oh, you only get clients because you're a female and your clients are trying to smash, when like 80% of my clientele is female, unless my female clients are trying to smash. And
That's
I don't know.
crazy.
Like
that is crazy to hear.
You know? Yeah, it's sad. Like it's like, damn, like I wish it was easier for us females, but you know what? It just makes it that much more satisfying, like being successful and like being here with you guys now, because like I've been through so much shit that now that I'm here, it's like, you know, it's like that old saying, like kill people with your success instead of like, you know, talking back to them.
So you want to talk to us a little bit about how you got started?
Yeah. So I went to school for, so initially when I went to school, I went to UC Irvine. I went in as a music major, and music was my life. I was super, super big, like band geek. Was part of like a couple of different ensembles and stuff. But
did you go to band camp?
I did. This one time at band camp. No, so I mean, obviously I went to band camp, you know, every year for my 4 years in high school. But so I went to school for music. But like when I got started, I, you know, listened to everybody else telling me like, you know, you're not gonna make music, you're not gonna make money, you know, doing music. It's like that whole stereotypic, like, you know, starving artist kind of thing. So I ended up switching my major to education with a minor in psychology and social behavior. I was like, well, maybe I can be a teacher or something, you know, a counselor, work with kids. Like, I think I'm passionate about that. You know, you would think that someone would be passionate working with kids. So I was still dorming with all the music majors and everybody who was like in the arts while studying something different. So I think that really affected me like in a very negative way. Like I'm over here studying shit about psychology that I don't even care about while all these other people are following their dreams. So it was a very, very dark time in my life.
I have a comment on that
Yeah.
because I feel like since you like studied sociology and like kind of like that psychology and all that stuff, I feel like that's like another thing that makes you great about being an artist and a female artist because like
I think it does
people can
help
talk
to
to
some
you.
extent. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like you understand people, you know, that a lot of times when they're getting tattoos, they're either going through something or they're going into a new step of their life.
That's true.
Definitely.
And-
That's something that I had mentioned to you
Yeah.
before.
yeah, that's literally
Yeah.
she was the one that told me that.
I think
Sorry.
I think one thing that I don't understand why society has branded artists as like not being able to support their family, not being able to do this and that. I know
it's
there
really
is
sad.
some issues like that. But from my experience going to college, if you're an art major, you're like bottom of the pole, right? Like people didn't respect you.
Mhm.
They look down on you. Like you answer a question. Like I've had people like tell me like, what do you know? You're just an art major.
Yeah, like, oh, you're
I
an
can
art
go to
major.
that.
Like, are you gonna do anything on the side?
Yeah.
Like,
So I think one important thing that now is changing is like parents are noticing that artists are really able to support themselves and make a really good living. You know, there's artists that make more money than your typical lawyer, your typical doctor, because it's not about what industry you're in, it's how do you know how to work it,
exactly.
Yeah.
you know?
Plus, fuck, I just lost my train of thought. Never mind.
No, you're fine.
Wait, what?
Well, I mean, you went to art school, right?
Yeah. Oh no, I remember what I was gonna say. So, so a lot of people won't take you seriously with art classes, but like I had 5 years of college, and it would either be like 2 classes a day or a week that are 3 hours for one class, or it's once a week 6 hours,
Mm.
and then if you're having 5 classes a semester, it's like a full-time job during the week on top of working afterwards. And people are just, you're supposed to do at least 6 hours of homework for each class, maybe more, on top of working and going into your classes.
No social
And people
life.
really,
No.
no social life, absolutely none.
And the one thing they don't tell you about it is that art classes, it's not like, oh, you're studying to do this and that. You're doing projects the whole time.
No.
So you got a project due
cranking out.
for each of those classes. So you have 6 classes, you have 6 projects, and they're normally due around the same time.
Yep. So you
Yeah,
got
I wouldn't know
about,
since I didn't go to
you got
art
about
school.
3 weeks.
I wish I did.
Yeah, you got about like 3 to 6 weeks per project, depending on what class it is, and you just crank it out, work one right after another, and it gets intense. But sometimes doing multiple pieces of art at the same time, for my brain, it kind of helps me because it's
Like, stay on track.
yeah, because if I get bored on one, I can just switch to something else real quick, and then I can come back to it. And I like that kind of way of working.
Yeah.
Which I know doesn't really work for tattooing, so I'm gonna have to fix that. But
It's okay. I mean, you can have multiple projects, like, big pieces. coming
no,
in.
exactly.
But-
Like, because I want to do more like custom work. I want to be able to make my own pieces. Like, obviously, I'll do stuff that the client wants because client is always right. But at the end of the day, I would like to be able to make my own art and have someone be like, I want that on me.
But going back to you say psychology, right?
Mhm.
How do you think that's helped you? I know you didn't go to art school. I'm a
didn't,
strong believer that you don't need
sadly.
art school. I'm really like that's. I know you disagree.
Well,
No.
It's not that I disagree. I think that art school versus being self-taught, they have different pros and cons because going to art school, you have a very easy way to make connections.
Yes.
Half of my friends are all artists. So when I go out and hang out with them, we're all getting inspired from each other and we can do like cute little picnics where we paint. Like, you wouldn't do that with some normie. No, you do it with a fellow artist. Yeah.
I do.
You do? But
No, I do wish that I would have gone to art school. Like, I know you say that you don't need it. I don't think you need it, but for myself, like,
Mhm.
personally, I
for
feel
the
like I wish I
connections,
would
yes, I
have.
believe you do, right?
Yeah.
You obviously need connections, you need network and all this
Yeah.
and that, right? That's great.
You learn
But
that
to
in school,
learn
too.
art and to learn actually how to do it, I believe you could do it yourself.
No, I think you definitely can, especially if you have a passion for it. Like, man, I always tell people, like, I think I was able to draw before I can even write my own name. Like, that's,
Yeah.
I just love it. Like, it lights me up in a way that nothing else does.
Yeah.
Whether it be music or, like, drawing, tattooing, whatever it is.
I love that. I feel like for people who are self-taught, if you are self-taught, the only thing that you need to learn then is the drive to make that communication and that networking, and you have to play an active role in trying to find those connections. So like going to conventions, going to places where you can have your portfolio looked at. Like when I was trying to get into an art school, me and my mom would go to a bunch of conventions to get people to look at my portfolio to figure out what kind of stuff I need to put in it to get into some of these schools.
Nice.
Did you see they look at you differently because you're a woman? No, I'm just kidding.
I
Don't play that card.
I think I was too young to really
Yeah.
notice because I was just so set that art is going to be what I want to do. Like I always felt like
well, you get
I
that
wasn't
drive, right? You want that drive that you want to succeed in art. Like same thing with me. Like when I went to school, I was going to school for a completely different thing, completely switched it up. And I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I wanted to do something in art. So that's why I followed that. But yeah, we got a little bit out of topic, but it's a good topic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a really good topic because it's true. Like people think it's just regular school, but
It's
artists are
not.
treated differently in the industry and in academics as well.
No, because like I was going to go to the Laguna School of Arts.
Fancy.
Oh.
Bet it alone.
Okay. So I got into the School of Visual Arts, which was in Manhattan, New York. That one and the one that I went to are the two that I was like really flip-flopping behind. And then I got a scholarship at California College of the Arts up in San Francisco and Oakland. But the one that I really was interested was Laguna.
Mm-hmm.
But they were like, you have a lot of good stuff, but we want you to send in another portfolio. But like all my other schools are already like, I gotta have a deadline to figure out which one I'm going to. So like I can't give you all my time if this isn't a for sure yes. And ended up going to Fullerton for free because my mom's military and I got benefits. So no debt.
Must be nice. I didn't even go to school for what I wanted and I'm still paying back fucking student loans.
That's rough. But like something that I noticed though is that there was a lot of artists or teachers that used to work at Laguna would talk shit about Laguna because they crank out their artists in such a way that a lot of them burn out before they even graduate.
That's most schools.
Yeah, but like I
guess I'm
heard that
glad I didn't go
Laguna
to
was
art
a little
school
bit
then.
worse than some of the other
Because art
ones around
center's the same
here.
way.
But it's rough.
So going back to, that's something that you really have to manage to your time because especially being in the tattoo industry, right?
Mhm.
You have to learn how to be able to crank all those out fast. You're on a deadline every day.
Literally.
You can't just be like, oh, I'll finish this later, right?
No.
No, I've tried doing that. Then the next day I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, dude, 'cause-
Now you gotta crank out that stencil like an hour before they get here.
yeah, because clients, they're on a budget most of the time. You know, they don't have unlimited funds. So you have to use your time wisely and see, okay, I can finish this much in this time, but he only gave me 2 days. So, okay, he's able to pay for 2 days. I'm going to finish this half and this other half. So you really got to time it out perfectly.
Yeah.
On top of that, you got to manage your other projects that you're doing for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
So it's really a nonstop.
But I think art school kind of helped me with that because I'd
Yeah.
always be cranking shit out that I was able to, be able to finish a portrait. I could finish a portrait in probably one day.
Yeah.
If I really cranked it out and didn't have any distractions for the day, I could do it.
No, I
And-
would say like any kind of higher education can help with that because whether you're working on like art projects or like an essay or whatever it is, like you're on a time crunch, like you have a deadline. So whether it's an art project or not, I feel like college helped me in that aspect. Like I'm able to keep myself on track because I had to do that shit for 4 fucking years.
that schedule.
I mean, yes. I mean, me and Carlos talked about that too. Like, I feel like if you went to school, you have to get stuck on a schedule, right?
Yeah, you have to be very, very mindful of your time. Especially if you're working while you're going to school like
Yeah.
that. That's a really big one too, which I had to do.
So I know we got off a little track again.
Sorry. I'll track again.
Let's go back to
It's okay.
so I know you started in your industry,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you stopped working there and you jumped into tattooing.
Yeah, so I didn't just stop working. I ended up getting laid off from my job, which I think was a blessing in disguise, honestly. I don't think I would have quit that job as much as I didn't like it. Like I wasn't happy.
Mhm.
Honestly, every day during lunch, I was either like drawing or like looking up like other artists and stuff like that. So it was always like in the back of my mind, but I never really thought it was like a feasible career option. Again, just like having that idea in my mind, like the starving artist. I don't want to be the starving artist. I want to be able to provide for myself. And then later on down the line, if I choose to have a family, then I can provide for them. And I just didn't see art being like a feasible career option until I got laid off. Well, I was like, well, fuck, what now? you know?
Yeah.
And so I ended up talking to one artist. His name is Vince. He's down at Revolution Tattoo. And, you know, I showed him my work and he was like, hey, like, I think you could actually be like a tattoo artist. And I was like, really? You think so? Like, I was like, no way. So that day I went home and I bought like a bunch of fake skin and like, I know everybody looks down on it, but hey, I bought a tattoo machine on Amazon and I started practicing.
I low-key wanted to do that, but I heard so many people.
I know everybody looks down on it. And I'm like, you know what?
do.
Everybody starts somewhere. Not everybody has the opportunity to start as an apprentice. You know, you got lucky enough to find a place that was willing to take you in. Like I looked for a lot of places. And I remember talking to Ricky about that. And he said like, you know, maybe you just weren't being patient enough. Like you could have waited a couple more months, a couple years. And I'm like, yeah, I could have. But like, this is something that I'm really passionate about. Like I knew that this is what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to wait.
It's that drive.
Timing.
You have to. I feel like if you don't follow that drive, once you have it, it just goes away, and then after that, you just get stuck where you were at.
Yeah, I'm a very, very impatient person. I think that's a bad thing and a good thing at the same time.
No,
but I'm definitely an impatient person. Like when I want something, I'm gonna go after it.
Okay.
I mean, that's great because it's like that's what got you here. So
yeah, I
Good
still
for
can't
you.
believe it, dude. I'm looking around right now and I'm just like, fuck, I'm here. That's fucking crazy.
I'm glad you're here.
Me
It's
too.
nice to have more artists that are also really well driven and really motivated to make money. Like I talked to Romeo about like his stuff all the freaking time, and he would talk about like how he used to always be here almost every freaking day unless the guys would tell him not to come in, and he's
You
just
still
got
come in.
Yeah,
He's outside knocking on the door.
Where's everyone
Let me in,
at?
guys. Open the door.
No, but it's like it's really nice to be around people that are that inspired to work that hard, because if I'm not around that energy, I can kind of go down that rabbit hole of like, well, you know, I could just do it later kind of thing. But I don't want to do it later. Like this is something I want to do. And this is like a little bit of a tangent, but like, you know how earlier you were saying like you didn't see art as a feasible thing. My mom made it a point to always be like, follow your dreams. If this is what you want, I'm going to support you through
That's
it.
good. I'm glad
That's
you had
good.
that support
Yeah.
system.
That's
Yeah.
really good. Not a lot of us did.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, I'm sure my mom loves me and like she supports what I do now, but you know, she was just, I think our parents see it from a different point of view, especially, you know,
It's
like
more
if,
of the land culture.
yeah, like if you, it's especially for us like Latinos, like our parents want us to have like a really good job, like lawyer, you know, teacher, fucking doctor, like a good job so that we can be able to take care of ourselves.
I was supposed to be a priest.
But you know, our parents want us to succeed in life. It's not, I think we see it from our point of view, like, oh, you just don't want me to be happy. But they see it like, I just want you to succeed in life.
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know?
they get to this country and they see who's the most successful ones, and they're like, "Well, you got to be that now, because that way you have to be successful."
Yeah, and then
too.
us, like, we want to make our parents happy. So, like, honestly, if my mom didn't want me to go to college, I don't think I would have gone. I went because I wanted to make my mom proud, you know?
Yeah,
I went because if I took a gap year or any type of year off, she'd be like, I'm cutting you off. I ain't paying for shit.
That's
You're on
privilege
your
right
own.
there.
That's right there.
Figure it out. So I went to school. And now I'm here. So it worked out.
But at least you know it got you motivated enough to go keep going.
No, it did, definitely. And you know, throughout it all, she was definitely my support and my rock for it all. And she's got a lot of family members that are like kind of artists. Like my aunt is a pretty successful graphic designer, and she's got her
That's
own
dope.
she's got her own condo.
That's another thing I was going to ask you. Do you have any other one besides your aunt, an artist?
Yeah, so my cousin used to do tattooing in Colorado. He didn't like it though because he's more of like a muralist. Like he loves murals and painting, and he loves that freedom. So he was like, after about 2 years of it, he's like, I can't do this shit no more. I miss painting. This is what I want to do with my life. And he's pretty famous in Colorado for his murals. Like a lot of people around, well, like Paonia, Colorado Springs. He's done some murals over there. Like he's pretty well known in some of the spots in Colorado, and he's always working. So I know you can do it. And he's got like 4 kids. He fosters kids, and he's got a little house on in the mountains. So that's like he's living my dream. I want that someday.
What about you? Do you have anyone else in your family that does art?
Art? No, I don't think so. I have one cousin who's my age. It's a funny story. So this is how I actually kind of got inspired to like be a tattoo artist. So when I was 15, I hope my mom's not watching this. When I was 15, my cousin, who is now a barber, like I consider that art because I mean, cutting hair is not fucking easy.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
definitely an art.
It's all technique.
Yeah. So my cousin Eric, he now owns a tattoo shop and he's in the process of opening up. I mean, tattoo shop. What am I talking about? Barbershop. I've been drinking a little too much. He owns a barbershop and he's in the works of like, you know, opening up another one. He's doing really, really well. But when we were 15, he came over to my mom's house. We were in my room. He brought a tattoo machine, fucking shitty ass coil machine. And we started tattooing each other's like the crappiest tattoos we could ever do. But it was at that moment that I was like, this is kind of cool. Like, I wouldn't mind.
3 puntos.
It was, do you guys want to know what it was?
Yeah.
So it was some cherries on my hip. And I drew them out like before he did them, and then he just like put them on me. I forgot what I did on him, but it was on his thigh. But yeah, that was kind of like where that spark kind of came from. Like I would want to be a tattoo artist until it kind of got, you know, shut down or whatever. But
no, I think the thing that got me, like, I've always wanted to tattoo or do something with art. Like in high school, I wanted to be an animator. I took an animation class, fucking hated it. Drawing the same thing over and over and over again was just not it. But I know tattooing, I'm still going to end up having to do that. But, you know, with each person, I can make a little tweak, you know, change it so that it's specific to the person. So it's not the same exact thing. But then I switched to photography. Then it's like one of those things, anyone can do photography. And I just didn't like that idea.
That's such an insult to photography.
I know, right?
Okay, I'm not saying. Okay, well, talking
I'm
shit.
so sorry.
I'm not saying, okay, I'm not hating on other artists because there's an art form and a technique to every type of art. It's just like after like doing it, it's just, it wasn't for me. And like something that I did really, really love was painting, but that was something that became more therapeutic for me. That was something I would do whenever I have a mental breakdown. I would just do some abstract art and just paint it out, and it would make me happy, and I'd do it like all night kind of thing. And I'd feel so much better after I finished. But
you got into the tattoo industry because of your cousin. He got you that spot, right? Like where you first touched the machine, you're like, I need to do this.
Yeah, it was more just like, oh, this is a possibility. Like I never really saw it as like oh, I need to do this like right away. It was more just like, this is an option kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. And you, Megan, I think you had some of the similar story. Like you actually tattooed someone as well.
Yeah. Because it was like something where I've always been around it because of my dad, because he's got like a lot of tattoos. So it's kind of been something in our family and kind of normalized. And in college, I had a friend that's like tatted the fuck up, and he wanted to also be a tattoo artist. But he wasn't in like art school like me. So he just kind of like fed off of my art and like creative mind kind of thing, and we just helped each other, and he inspired me. And he bought a tattoo gun off of like Amazon, I think. Tattoo machine.
All right. So for you guys watching, every time she says tattoo gun,
It's not a tattoo gun.
it's not a tattoo gun, it's a tattoo,
machine.
So every time she says that, I
Pew,
tell her I'm
pew.
gonna go pew pew.
Pew, pew.
Just to correct her.
But yeah, so tattoo machine. He gave me a 5-minute crash course on how to use it.
5 minutes.
Yeah,
Oh my
he
God.
just went like, so this is how you do it. This is how you speed it up, slow it down. This is the stencil paper type thing. And then I drew on the stencil and we put it on him. And then his skin was way too dark for the stencil. And he was all like, fuck it, just freehand it. And I'm like, okay.
Dude, even now I get scared of freehand.
Oh
some shit
God.
sometimes. Like,
I think if I could, I would redo it, and I probably would have gone in with Sharpie and actually freehanded it instead of just going straight with the tattoo gun and freehanding it.
this is fun.
So I know both of you guys already been in the industry a little bit. I mean, you just got into it, you're new, and you've already been into it 2 years, right?
Yeah, but I feel like I'm just now getting into it because before I was working by myself, and now I'm finally like surrounded by other artists. So I feel like I've just gotten into it. If
So
that
you've
makes
been in
sense.
private shops the whole time?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. Like at first I was working with like a couple other artists like in a private shop, and then I felt like it wasn't the right environment for me. So then I decided to branch off on my own for a while. Jesus Christ, for a really long time. And I just felt like it wasn't for me either. And I feel like I need to be surrounded by other creatives. Like I need to like feed off of that. And I'm a very social person. So I feel like I need to be around other people.
One thing I will talk about is like I think you basically were able to create what we kind of try to teach here is how to create your own brand. You on social media have branded yourself to a point where I see in your comments, you get like fucking 30 comments at a time per post, you know.
I try to build like that relationship.
Yeah.
I think that's what, which is also what brought me to your shop. Like when I was talking to Ricky, he's like, this is what we need to do. Like, we need to build relationships with our clients. Like that's what we focus on. I'm like, that's fucking perfect because that's what I want to do with my clients. Like, it's not just like, here, I do your tattoo and you're done. No, like I want to keep up with you, like about your life. So when you come back, we have something to talk about. You know what I mean? Like I want returning clients.
I think that's the best thing too. Like when you pick up from your clients, like when they come back and you're like, start picking up where you left off last time.
Like, hey, how's your job? Yeah. Like, how's your cousin doing? You know?
Yeah. Actually, at the last shop that I was at, I feel like the only one that really was making that effort to make a relationship with their artist or their clientele was the boss. But like watching the other artists there, they mostly focused on walk-ins and I
like
even heard them
money?
talk crap about some of their clientele, and I'm just like, are you really like? And they'd be returning clientele too that they'd be like talking shit on. I'm just like, these are people that are coming back to you multiple times because they like your art and your energy. Why would you want to like talk about them like that? And
Is that unprofessional?
it is. It's extremely unprofessional because like they're people too, and they want to feel appreciated. And if you make your clientele feel appreciated, they'll want to keep coming back.
So what's one thing you guys see in the industry that you guys believe that needs to be changed and better for female artists or just in general?
Less sexual harassment.
Ooh,
That's
a whole other podcast right there.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. That's a big one. No, but I think I guess just kind of like generalizing that, just respecting your clients and treating them like human beings instead of like a money bag.
Facts.
You know what I mean? I feel like I've met certain artists that are just like, we'll charge them this much because they're willing to pay it, kind of thing. Not just because like, oh, this is what my art is. Like I feel like this is what it's worth, so I'm going to charge this much. It's more like, hey, like this person has a lot of money, they're willing to pay this much, so I'm going to charge them more than I would somebody else for like the same thing. You know what I mean? So I think just respecting your clients and treating them like people, that's going to make them want to come back.
I agree, but also as like an artist, you should be always like trying to like up yourself.
No, I think you should like you should charge a certain price, but there are certain artists like that'll charge like, let's say I have a client that makes like $60,000 a year. Then I have another one that makes $200,000 a year. I'm going to charge them the same for whatever I'm doing because like that's what I feel my art is worth. There are some artists that I've met, they're like, oh, this person makes a lot more money, so I'm going to double the price that I would normally charge just because they make more money. I think that in itself is like disrespecting the fuck out of your client.
Yeah.
And that speaks volumes of you as a person. Like I'm going to charge someone more just because they make more money.
Yeah.
Like that's
Sorry, I'm kidding.
like that's I don't think that's appropriate.
No, I agree.
That's true. I mean, yeah, I agree with you 100%. Like I don't charge someone differently just because I know what they make.
No.
For me, I have a set price for the day, and if they're willing to pay for it, then let's go for it.
Exactly.
You know
Do you ever work with them if they can't afford it?
Yeah, I have three
Like you ask
stages.
their budget, right?
I have we could do either half day or we could do a full day.
Okay, so then even if it's like a large piece, you'll be like, all right, we'll just do a half day and come back later when you have the time and money to finish it.
So you don't like simplify the design or anything?
Huh?
You wouldn't like simplify the design to make it like appropriate for their budget?
No, because the way I work is there's like I don't want to skim out details just because I can't afford it. I'd rather have smaller sessions, multiple smaller sessions, than having, just simplify and it's not gonna look like my work anymore.
No,
Gotcha,
that's nice though, because then that for sure means that clientele is going to keep coming back because they know that you appreciate their time and money and
you're upholding your own like value too.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
that saves a lot.
So there's a certain level where I want to reach as an artist, and to get to that level, I can't be skimming off like details and things I have to do.
You know, and I see that. That's actually again like what brought me to your shop. Like I was following you and Romeo for some time, and every time I saw you guys post something, it was like it was better. Whether it was like the composition or like you saturated your blacks more, you added more detail, like you use your midtones more. Every time I saw them post something, it was like better and better. So I'm like, damn, I need to be surrounded by these people, be surrounded by other artists who are just wanting to up level all the time instead of just being complacent. I feel like there are so many artists in the industry, and like I think any industry, people just get complacent with where they're at. They're like, okay, I'm doing good. I'm making a good amount of money. I'm just gonna stay here instead of like wanting to improve as an artist or like wanting to improve as a business owner. Like there's so many different things that you can improve in.
Yeah.
But a lot of people just get complacent, and I feel like I get anxious when
That's
I
one of
feel
the
stuck
hardest things
somewhere.
to do is complacency. Is like once you get there, it's hard to get out.
Yeah, but I feel like being an artist is like it's a great thing about it is that you're forever growing, you're forever learning.
Forever
and
learning.
and it's such like it's like your brain loves that shit. Like I love being able to work my brain. So being able to learn something new, like I can't wait till I get to start practicing on fake skins because technique is so much fun. Just
Mhm.
learning technique. Like with like watercolor, like I would just spend a few times just learning the techniques and doing like washes and then being able to actually put that like technique to paper and seeing it like all come out it's really fun.
You just wait until you start doing it on
And
people.
I-
It's so fucking amazing.
I think this environment, especially that we have an open shop, I feel like it makes it easier to bounce ideas off. Like
it
I
really
mean,
does.
you've seen it. Like,
Yeah,
we
I mean,
talk to each
you've already
other.
helped me. I've only been here for 2 weeks, and I feel like
Yeah.
you've already helped me like so much.
Yeah, like we'll talk to each other. Like, how do you think this will look? Like, I don't know if you see, like me and Tony will bounce each other ideas. We'll bounce each other. We'll
Bounce each other.
off ideas of each other, just to make our tattoos even better. Like he asked me, what do you think about this yesterday? I was like,
Mm.
I think you should go bigger. But the client didn't want to go bigger. I was like, well, then that's perfect. You know,
Yeah.
there's only you can move it slightly or you just leave it alone. You just add some sort of elements to the design where it will make it flow even better.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm sorry.
no, go for it.
I was about to say, like, honestly, I love Tony in the sense of he's like someone who loves to like teach and
Mhm.
also learn. Cause like I'll be showing him stuff on my iPad and he's like, I really like this idea. I might have to apply this into my tattoos kind of thing. So he's also someone he's forever learning. And that's why he's called the shop prodigy,
Yeah.
you know? Cause
I really like
he
the
wants
fact
to
that
continue getting better.
No, I really like the fact that like I think the other day you were asking me like your like my opinion on your work. I'm like, oh my god, like you care about my opinion.
Of
Like I
course.
feel like I've never had that happen before. I've been working by myself for so long, and like when I was working with the other shop, they more saw me as like the apprentice kind of
Mhm.
thing because I was just starting off, and like you said, like I feel like women aren't really respected as much in the industry. So
Yeah.
it was more just like, oh, that's cute, you're doing this kind of thing. You know?
And that's one thing we talked about before the podcast. I said, like, there's always going to be somewhere under you that's going to want to be where you're at right now.
Mhm.
So I feel like you always have to be a good example to them and try to help them reach that level. And I think by helping them reach that level, you help yourself reach the next level on top of that.
Definitely,
Yeah.
I agree.
So not
It
for
is.
getting to that level, you need people skills and the drive to do better.
No, yeah, I've actually gotten a couple. Just this past week, I got a message from another female who wants to start tattooing, and she wanted me to like take her in as an apprentice. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm flattered that you would ask me to do that for you, but I don't think I'm in a position where I can teach someone yet. Just because I feel like I'm still learning myself. Again, like you mentioned earlier, like as an artist, you're always learning, but I don't feel like I'm in a position where I can teach someone just yet. I feel like I'm still learning myself, and I don't think I can take on a.
But sometimes teaching someone also helps you learn in yourself because like now you have to think about like if they ask you a question about technique, like sometimes I do that with Tony. I'll ask him about technique and he's like, hold on, give me a minute. I got to think on that. And then he'll like think a little bit and then he'll start going to teaching
right
mode.
now, like, I'll get back to you.
You know?
Teaching definitely does reinforce your own learning because you're learning as you're teaching. You know, it reinforces that.
What about you? I know you took mentorship, right? And you
I
took
did with
a lot of
with
online.
Reese.
Yeah. How was that for you? Like, how did that help you out?
I feel like it more helped me out in the business sense because it wasn't mentorship as in terms of like technique or anything, but it definitely helped me in the business sense. So like how to run my Instagram, how to interact with clients, like how to be able to say no to clients, which is a really big thing for me. It's really hard for me to say no to people. I'm definitely a people pleaser, but I've come to learn that you can't just say yes to everything because then that leads to burnout.
Mhm.
I was definitely burnt out quite a bit, which is kind of what led me here too. I'm just like, fuck, I'm just so tired of like working by myself all the time. Like I don't have all the answers. Like I need to work with the team. I need people like you know, and you like other creatives to help me like up level my skill and just, you know, skills in all aspects of being like a tattoo artist, like, you know, my technique, how to interact with clients and like just every aspect of being a tattoo artist.
That's cool. I like that answer.
Nothing to add to it.
No, but I mean, we basically went through a lot today. But one thing I really want to ask you guys, especially since you guys are both starting off, right? You and your tattoo industry, like tattoo artist wise, right? And you and your apprenticeship. What are your goals for the next, say, 3 years? Like,
3 years?
yeah.
Specifically? Well, I'd like to be tattooing. So in 3 years, I would like to have my technique down so I can start focusing on a style that is more me and niche.
Okay.
So
Nice.
that's like the main goal, is to be able to do something that's very me and have people around the world be able to come to me because they want that style.
What would you consider your style to be?
Right now, I definitely like realism, but I do love like fantasy art, like video game characters, anime, just illustrative work, but like bringing like a realistic look to that.
So more like neo-traditional.
I guess. Yeah, but then I also like the surrealism too.
Oh, okay.
Because like I was like looking at like some Art Nouveau like colored pieces
Mhm.
that I think look really fun, but I think it would be more fun if you bring in more tones and more realism into the Art Nouveau, because I feel like some Art Nouveau is very flat and I don't want it to look flat. So I'm just a very much person that loves texture, color, and realism.
Can you explain Art Nouveau for
Art
me?
Nouveau?
I'm looking at you like,
I'm just
are you
like,
gonna explain this?
okay.
I didn't go to art school.
Okay, so like Art Nouveau, if you think like 1920s Great Gatsby, so lots of pattern work.
Okay.
Like I was showing Romeo some Art Nouveau stuff, because he does like a lot of Chicano art, but he does a lot of like white out of the hair, which gives off a very Art Nouveau look. So I'm like, maybe you could look at some Art Nouveau pieces to bring into your Chicano art, and then make it very you kind of thing. Make it something niche. And we were like talking about things that he could add to his art to make it more of like something that's very specific to him. And he's like, I like that idea. And I was trying to bring that into his art, and like just having like something very simple, like he wants to bring in like his hair and smoke into like leaves, or like having them like add into shapes that are already in the piece, but making it very continuous. And I think Art Nouveau, I think 1920s posters, or even like Hitchcock, like, no, was it Woodstock? I'm trying to think what year it is, but are you looking it up? Oh.
No.
It's just, I don't know how to explain it because it's been a while.
Okay. Well,
But I
thank you
think
for
1920s, and I think Art
1920s, this
Nouveau.
kind of thing. What about you? What are your goals for?
For the next 3 years. So initially, I saw myself opening up an all-female shop. But honestly, I feel like to be able to run a successful shop, I need to work in a successful shop. So this is why I'm here. I want to be able to learn all the tools I need to be able to run a successful shop, to see what it's like to work with other artists, because I've just been alone for so long, and I like the shops that I was working at, it wasn't necessarily like a positive environment, or just not the environment that I would like to cultivate in the shop that I opened. And so far from what I've seen here in Iconiq, this is the kind of shop that I would want to run, except with all females. Not that I have anything against working with male artists. Definitely not. Josh is super amazing. All the other men here are amazing artists, super cool people.
They make you feel comfortable.
Yeah, they definitely make you feel comfortable, but I do want to open an all-female artist shop, just because of the feedback that I've gotten back from male and female clients, that they just feel more comfortable with female artists.
Yeah.
So hopefully within the next 3 years, I can, make the connections, like as we go to expos and conventions and things like that, I can make the connections with other female artists and hopefully build a team that I'm comfortable leading or working alongside.
Nice.
That's actually something I was doing when I was at the convention, was like anytime I could see like a female artist, I was like, I had to go talk to them, make myself known, make sure I get their Instagram, and be like, I'm thinking of opening a shop someday. So like, be on the lookout for me, please. I'm trying to make those connections. Like I talked to a bunch of other apprentices that aren't tattooing yet, but hey, I want to get to know as many female artists as possible, and just artists in general. Because like when I was at the convention, I would just go up to people's booths and then just start talking about their technique and asking questions. And like most often they love talking about themselves. So they just go on and on.
Now I feel like the industry is more opened up. Like they'll most likely answer anything you have to say. Back when I first started with conventions, they would ignore you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they wouldn't talk to you. They'll just like turn around.
It goes back to everybody says the tattoo industry is very gate kept and all this stuff, which is why it's really hard to get an apprenticeship especially as a female artist.
All right. So one other thing I want to ask you guys before we end this amazing show with you guys is this is one thing that people don't really talk about, like on social media. Like on social media, you just see the happy parts of,
All the success.
all the success and everything. But what are 2 challenges that you had to overcome to be where you're at right now? Start with you.
I would say one would be, we were talking about this earlier, the imposter syndrome. I still feel that to this day, but being self-taught and not having the apprenticeship, I definitely feel the imposter syndrome a lot. Just because I've gotten messages from people, or just like seeing reels from like other like, well-known artists, like kind of talking down on people who learned on their own. And I get it. Now I would definitely recommend people, go through an apprenticeship, because then you can learn the proper techniques, proper safety procedures and things like that. But then again, everybody has different opportunities. Like you had the opportunity to work here, as an apprenticeship, but other people don't have that, So I think everybody has like their own way of learning. And I won't look down on anybody who learned on their own, obviously, because I'm one of those.
Me too.
Yeah. But I mean, I would definitely recommend somebody get an apprenticeship now.
Yeah.
Now that I'm in the industry. So imposter syndrome is definitely one of them. And another one is just being a female artist in the industry. I feel like people just don't take me seriously, especially when I first started. I mean, I'm still fairly new to the industry. I mean, I'm only 2.5 years in, which is practically nothing, because I plan on being in this industry my entire life. So I'm barely dipping my toe into the water,
You're here to stay.
I'm here to stay. Like this is happening. But yeah, imposter syndrome and being a female in the industry, just because people don't really take you seriously.
Can you give an example of how when people don't take you serious? Like, what do you mean exactly? Like by your work or by how you talk to them when you're consulting?
I think just in general, like Megan mentioned earlier, like I'll give my opinion on something and they kind of like knock it down. I feel like if I was a male, they would just be like, okay, like this is what I want, let's go. But I feel like more recently I've been getting more clients who are like those like soulmate clients, who just give me their idea and they're like, I fully trust you, you have full creative freedom. And that to me just kind of validates me as an artist. Like, okay, like I have trust in you. I believe that you can do this, whether you're male or female or not. I believe that you can do this as an artist. And I feel like that kind of validates me. So it's one of the challenges that I've had to overcome, but I feel like it's definitely gotten easier.
Okay. What about you, Megan? What are 2 challenges that you had to overcome to where you're at right now to be able to get this apprenticeship and be able to stay in the apprenticeship? Because it's not easy. Like, if you guys don't know, an apprenticeship is basically she's working for free for a whole year, just learning the ins and outs of the shop. And in return, we're teaching her how to tattoo. So she's paying with her time, not necessarily other shops where they'll charge you 15, 20,000, whatever it is, so they could teach you and you start tattooing. But she's trading her time for the knowledge of the craft.
Which I honestly love, though, because you guys are also teaching me on how you guys run a shop, which is what I want to do someday. So I appreciate it. So I get to know all the ins and outs. For my 2 challenges, like Lou said, was definitely imposter syndrome. Being surrounded by a bunch of really talented artists and some artists that are already like taking off in their industry taking off with their career in college. It's really intimidating because it's like, crap, like you're really good and you're already doing your stuff. And I haven't gotten to that level yet, but I know I could.
And so you kind of compare yourself.
You do. You compare yourself a lot amongst other artists. And honestly, it took me forever to actually just start looking at shops. Like before I graduated, I was looking at shops around like Orange County area, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. But a lot of them is like that like traditional style, like old American traditional. And that's not something I want to do. So like going to a shop to learn that, I wouldn't be learning the skills that I want or have, like at this shop, I can learn what I know I can learn. Or can we scratch that?
Just keep going.
Okay, keep going. So pretty much just that imposter syndrome of always comparing myself to other artists and then getting to this mental state of like, am I even good enough? Can I do this?
I felt that one.
And it took me forever to finally like, I can do this. I'm good enough. And just showing someone my art. And after like just showing a couple of shops my art when I was like looking for apprenticeship, not one shop was like, yeah, you're not good enough. It was just either, oh, we're not looking for someone right now. Maybe come back in a couple of months type thing.
That's the same thing I got.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just be like finding the right shop at the right time that also will teach you the right skills to get to the level that you want to be at. And I do think Iconiq will be that for me.
Nice. Of course.
Love that.
And then for the second one, I guess it kind of ties into the imposter syndrome, and that would be just mental health and burnout. And after doing 5 years of college and even during COVID and having to do stuff online when I'm more of a visual in-person learner, it was really difficult. So, just trying to regain that mental health and stability so I can start cranking out art again was definitely a challenge. But now that we're at a better place, I can start doing it again.
That's
and
good.
it feels good.
Good. I'm happy
Snaps.
for you.
Nah.
I do that all the time. Snap.
Yeah. One last thing. I know we only said those two, but like, what would you say to someone that wants to be where you're at right now? Like, if you had to give a younger artist some motivation, what would you tell them to do, or a little advice you would give them?
Just don't stop. Just keep going. Like there were so many days where I was just fucking crying, like in my car, like, fuck, is this even like what I should be doing? Again, going back to the imposter syndrome, like looking at other artists' work, like, damn, their work is so good. I'll never get there. Like, should I even keep going kind of thing? Keep fucking going. Like, I'm here now. So, I mean, that's proof. Like, if you keep going, you're going to get to where you want to get.
You will. Definitely. I agree. Like, if you're just starting, don't compare yourself to people that have been in the industry for over 10 years, like 5 to 10 years. They're at a different level than you, and you will get there with time. Art is
Persistence.
Persistence is key, and anyone can do art if you're motivated and you put in the effort. So just one of those things where like you just keep believing in yourself. And when you show your art to people, people are going to love it. You're going to find your people. You're going to find your niche, and you're going to find your clientele. You just got to believe in yourself and keep putting yourself out there.
Yes. 100%.
Damn, mic drop right there.
Mic drop. Yes.
No, but this was a really good podcast. I'm glad I got to know a little bit of both of you guys. So I'm glad you guys decided to do this with me. And then hopefully we'll have another one in the future. Little 6 months once you're more in the shop, and hopefully you're more into your apprenticeship.
Yeah.
So,
thank you guys.
Thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, and
follow us.
Oh yeah.
So
follow us. Yeah.
If you're not already.
And we're done.